Hello. I think I'm live now. Hopefully the stream is good. Getting some good frame rates. Everything looking fine. Max, thank you for the $1.99. You guys don't need to pay me any money though. I'm not doing this for that. I'm not drinking alcohol tonight. I am drinking just Coke. Some good caffeine. Yep, you get a shout out. Right. So, so I moved my camera. It's now here. I don't know if it's better. I'm undecided because I still have to look this and this for the screens, which is kind of like an up angle. Don't know if that's good. I got a picture. It's there. I got another picture too. Somewhere over there. It's a naked woman. Yep. So that's all fun. Put them up. Had a good day at work. Got a lot done. And now it's time to finish off my personal site. Hopefully finish it off. So I guess let's see where we got to yesterday. And I know I said, sorry, wrong one. I know I said that I wasn't gonna do any while I wasn't live streaming, but I kind of lied. So I did a little something, but it's nothing visual. I basically Next.js just released 9.5, 9.4, 9.4, I think. So I updated the dependency to that. So that's good. That includes things like fast refresh, and also absolute sort of imports, which I don't know why it wasn't a thing by default anyway, but yeah, it has some cool things. So I updated the package to that. Right, so let's start this up and get the localhost running. They've also changed the console logs that they give out. It's just not as busy anymore, which is always nice. That's clearly not ready. Just give it some time, I guess. Yeah, I really want to get around to the issue where my laptop starts taking off when I stream, but the thing is I just don't know that much about streaming and about computers to figure out why it's trying so hard. I'm thinking it's because it needs to downscale this 5K screen, but it's just too nice to give up. I don't want to give up the 5K screen. So this is what we got to. So I guess today I need to make this little cursor thing actually look how Bobby designed it. I need to add this like laptop in with the stickers, and I guess we could make it perform, like, look a bit nicer when it's down on responsive. And I think that's it. So yeah, I think we're just gonna jump straight in. I don't want to stay up too late. So we're gonna start with this, just getting this mouse to be sort of styled how we want it to be. Things are going so slow. I wonder if I close some programs that are running in the background, like Dropbox, which uses a ton of resources, and surprisingly, also, so does 1Password, but we won't get rid of that for now. This is a new angle, yes. Right, so we need to make this box the right color and also have like a little shadow around it. But with a slow laptop, it's impossible to select things. Okay, so let's grab this hex. And by the way, I haven't actually been bothered about sort of having a theme and having like variables for all of my colors and stuff. Like, it just doesn't, I just don't see the point too much when it's like something small that I'm working on like this. So instead of this background red, we're just gonna push that color in there, and then it's got a drop shadow, and we can just copy that straight from here. And boosh. Okay, that should kind of look how it should do. I think it's a bit too close to the cursor, so instead of, I think we had 10 pixels, right, pushed away. Yeah, I think we're gonna update this to be like 20. And yeah, I do have fast refresh on, but like, I don't think my laptop can handle fast refresh right now. Okay, so that was quick, that was easy. I think another thing that we're gonna do to this cursor is create sort of like a like React context, sort of like use context used reducer, and have like a sort of really simple global state management thing, so I can just update the state from any component down any tree or parent or child, and it will update on the cursor, because then when I hover over like this eye on this component, then I can just update the state, which will change the text. And I think that's a bit better than just having like a event emitters going around the place. So yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Right. I guess we need to have sort of like a, I have this common folder. I guess I can just put like this common store in here and call it store.ts, right? And then we need to import React from React. And then I guess we need like an initial state. Hey Bobby, thank you for the $1.99. I think it's so awkward shouting people out when they give you money, because it's like I don't expect anyone to give me money, but thank you, I do appreciate it. If you give me money, I will never refund you, and it will be my money, so you've been warned. Right, initial state. I guess we just want to hold this sort of text that we have here in the state, so we'll just have a text, and right now we'll guess it would just equal to this hello hello hello. And then we need to create the context. We do that, I think. I'm struggling to remember this stuff because like it's been a while since I've had to not use Redux for things. Something like this, and then is it like react.create context? That's probably it. And I think you pass in the default value, yep, which I guess is the initial state. But as we're working with TypeScript, do we need to type anything here, or does it automatically typed? It looks like this is automatic type, which is quite nice. Right, so now we need to have the providers, right? We need to have a state provider, and that's going to be wrapped around our sort of app component here, and this is going to provide the state to all of the components in the tree. So let's do const state provider, and actually this is a React functional component, which is kind of weird, I know, but it just has, because obviously it needs to wrap this whole stuff, it needs to be able to just like print out the children. So we're gonna have some children props in here, and that's just a React child, because obviously if we go here, this layout is a React child, so that's why it's a React child. Right, let's actually successfully import that. So we're doing state provider, which is a functional component, which is going to have a function, which then gives us the children. Thank you for the 60. Is that RUB? I do not even know what that currency is. Let's have Russian ruble. Is that how you pronounce it? That's cool. Let's convert it to Great British pounds. 66p. Thank you very much for the 66p. I will buy myself some sweets from the shop next time I go to the shop. Right. Where were we? So we have the children. And we just basically need to wrap everything in a context. So we're just going to return a Max, thank you for the $4.99. But if you guys keep donating money to me, then I'm never going to be able to get my stuff done because I'm going to be having to keep shouting you out. So it's probably a terrible thing for a streamer to just tell people not to give me money. Need to sort this camera out. Next time, tell me about it. Alright, so basically what happens here is this state context is basically going to give us a provider which we can wrap this stuff in here. So we just do this state context dot provider. I think that's right. It's shouting at me. I don't know why it's shouting at me. Right, this state context has a provider. Cannot find namespace state context, but it's right here. I don't know why it's doing that, but we're just going to ignore it for now and hope that it's TypeScript just not catching up with me, and then if it's not, we'll work that out. But basically we just need to export this state provider and also the state context, because we need to have this context to do the use context with. Why the camera every time? I think it's just like overheating or something, right? Something flashed up there. Memory card full, it's not even... Alright, I have a plan. The plan is to switch cameras. So we're gonna switch to one of these cameras. This one looks good. Move this out the way. That should be better. This won't overheat. I can ignore this camera and turn it off because I'll sort that out another day. And let's also change this camera to also be the same one. Right? Oh, that's a different camera. This camera. Hey. Okay. Back to it. So I think we can see each other now. Thank you, Bobby, for the $20 in total. And thank you again for the 123 Russian ruble, which will now buy me a small can of Coke, which is great because that's what I'm drinking now. So, thanks. You've just resupplied my Coke. Right, this state context stuff. Why is it not doing it? Am I being silly? Am I missing something? Let me know if I'm missing something. It's been so long since I've had to do things like this that I don't really know. But anyway, we'll move on because it might resolve itself once I add some more stuff in. Is we're going to wrap everything here with the state provider, and then what we do with this provider is in this store here we have a value, and this will be equal to basically it's going to be equal to the reducer store and dispatch. But like, I think if you only wanted to use like this and you didn't want to have like a whole reducer in actions and updating the state, you could just literally like paste in this initial state, and then this initial state will be sort of on the provider that you pass down here. But we're not going to do that. We're going to have a reducer. So we're going to do const reducer, and this is kind of following the same sort of architecture as Redux and things. How you have like a reducer, and then you have reducer actions, and then those actions go to basically just have like a type and then like a payload, and then the reducer will sort of read the type with a switch statement, a switch case statement, and then update the state and return the updated state. We're going to be following the same stuff, and I think that's how you do it with sort of use reducer and reduce context. I haven't really looked into it too much, but yeah. So this state is going to have, or this reducer is going to have a state, and it's also going to have an action. Then we have a switch statement, as I just said, and then basically you want to switch the action.type, which is going to be basically some constants. So I could say like update text, which I might just call it that. And then basically when that happens, so we can say like case update text. Then what we want to do is we want to return the existing state, but we're going to update the text to the action.payload. So basically that's going to be like, if we have an action, I guess we can just make a new folder called actions right now, and say export const, maybe update text, and then this is going to be the text, which is a string, and then it's going to return an object where it has the type of update text. And basically you should really have these in constants. So we could even have a new folder called constants. There we go. I think that's right anyway. And then we would say like, we'd even call it like the same thing as it's called. In Redux, you'd have sort of like a pattern that maybe you'd follow in here. So you would say like common dot actions dot and then like update text, just so that you don't have any that are the same. But as this is such a small little site and such a small state, we're just going to literally call it update text, not update. And then we can just import that right here. And it just means that if we ever want to change that, so we want to add in some more and we want to change the sort of string to make it not match something else, then we can just update it in one place and it will update everywhere and still work. Right, so now that we have this, we basically just need to provide that payload I was talking about, and that's going to be equal to the text string that we're passing into it. So when we dispatch this, it's basically just going to fire this off to the reducer, which we're setting up in the store, and then this reducer is going to take the action, going to look on the action type, and it's going to be like, okay, so if there is an update text action, then we're going to return the state. The text is going to be equal to the action.payload, which, as we know, is the text that we passed into this function, which is great. And I think I've just realized why this is, yes, because this is JSX, and we just called it TS instead of TSX, and this should help with removing any errors. So great. Missed your tweet. Well, I tweeted, and it doesn't matter. I'm glad you're here anyway. Glad you found your way here. Alright, so now that we have this reducer that has the state in action, we've got some angry red lines coming in here, and that's because I don't think action has a type. So maybe we'll just set up a really simple type and call it action type. There may already be a type that we can use, like redux action or something. But instead of looking for that stuff, I'm just going to say that it has a type, which is equal to a string, and it has a payload, which is also equal to a string. And this might change. This payload might not be a string, it might be an object. So we could like have a more advanced action type, which is an interface which can extend one another, which means the payload could be multiple types. Or we could just say like, or like an object, or like any, you know. But this is like the one downside to TypeScript, is things that aren't typed yet. But you know, what can you do for now? So we basically have this action type which gets rid of that, and then this state has a implied state of any. So again, we could have like a type of state and basically have text, and it's going to be a string, or we can even just make this the type of, and then this initial state, and it will read this as text, and then it will read this as a string. So it's basically doing the same thing, and that will get rid of that. So now we have this reducer. We need to, it's a small reducer, I know. And by the way, they need a default case, which basically is what it returns by default, and we're just going to return the initial state, which will be this state variable as we pass it in. So now that we have that, we basically need to use this reducer. And so if we do const and we say use reducer, and we put in this reducer here, then that's basically going to spit out the state and the dispatch function, which we can use to dispatch actions to the reducer. And I think we might need to pass an initial state to this, so we can just pass the initial state there. All right, so now that we have this dispatch and state, we can now just pass this back through to the provider. So we can say we want to pass back the state and the dispatch here. And what's this? It's not assignable to a string. Okay, so this is just more sort of like typing that hasn't been done, so we need to add in some more types, and I think we do that on this context here, which is kind of annoying because we have to add in things like so if we do this, we have to add in state, and we can say initial type of initial state. And there may be ways to like automatically type this stuff. Like I just haven't really picked things up with this method for a while. And then obviously it needs the dispatch function, which we can just return null, or we can do a void. It doesn't really matter there. And then, so this state context is going to have a state, and it's going to have a dispatch. And then we're passing in, we need to pass in the state and the dispatch, right? Because otherwise that's not going to do anything. State, dispatch, and we can just do the same thing, or I guess we could do null, which I think is the same as void. And then we close this off, and then does that get rid of you? Because now you're typed. Dispatch action type is not assignable to type. Void. No. Very much guessing. Maybe there's like a type that we need to do here. React dot. React dot dispatch, and then this requires one argument, and I'm guessing this is the argument of what we're dispatching, which we can just put any in for now. Yeah, that seems to have got rid of the error. So what's my drinking game? I'm not drinking alcohol tonight. I think if every time I drink alcohol, every time I stream I drink alcohol, I could be turning into a slight alcoholic, because I want to stream quite often. So, you know, just Coke today, so no drinking game. Maybe weekends. Weekends we can have a drinking game. But not for now. Right. So now we have the state provider, and we're wrapping the whole thing in the provider. We now should just be able to do in our context. So if we go into this component for the cursor box and go into index, we should just be able to do this const equals use context, and we should be able to do our state context here. And then we will have basically both the state and the dispatch here. And as you can see, this state has been successfully typed, and it should have the text string. So we can now just replace this hello with text.string. God damn it. State.text. Pretend I didn't do that. And then what that will allow us to do, this will be used soon. Come on, go a different color. Right, it's definitely being used, it's just being slow. So then what this will allow us to do, this is still going to say hello in the box here, but say on any page or component, I'll just do the index for now. If we do the same thing, so if we do const use context, and we do the state context, instead of bringing the state, we bring in the dispatch, and then let's just do a use effects. And you should never really do like use timeouts in the user effect, because it could use some memory leaks and stuff. You could set up a custom hook which can be like use timeout, but I'm going to ignore that because this is temporary, and I'm basically just going to set a timeout of after 2 seconds, we're going to dispatch an action, and that action is going to be update, whatever we called it. I think we called it update text, and we'll just say, this has been updated, something like that. And by the way, with the new Next.js, we can have absolute import, so we can just remove all of these dots, and that makes things a little bit better. So we have this hello. Let's refresh. Again, my computer is slow. But this should basically, once it refreshes, and I know that I have fast refresh on, but I don't think it's working as smoothly as I like it. It was before the stream, but I'm guessing the stream slows things down a bit because it's not even able to load my localhost very well. But after 2 seconds, this text should change to be this text has been updated, and that's basically just going to prove that we can then update that text in there for any sort of component. But don't know why it's not loading my localhost. Really, kind of annoying. But is there anything else that we need to do in the meantime? I don't think so. I kind of want to see if that works before moving on. Hello, localhost. Should I cancel it and start again? Okay, so we have this, it says hello, and then after 2 seconds it says this has been updated. That was slightly faster, but I'm guessing it took like a long time to render, so like 1 of the seconds was during the render, and that won't happen when it's actually hosted. So this works. That's exactly what I want it to be, because now when I hover over certain things, I can just use this same dispatch function to update this text in this cursor, and then we can just change it back after a certain amount of seconds, or when you do a mouse out event sort of thing. But as we don't need to do any of this stuff here, we're gonna go whoop and whoop. Okay, so now we're back to normal, and this should say like hello again. So the next thing we're gonna do is basically the laptop here, which is gonna cover half my face. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so let's hide all of these cursors. Hide these cursors. So this laptop has this glow on it, which is on my face. We'll ignore that bit for now. And I think I exported this laptop as an SVG. I can't really remember. Laptop is an SVG, yeah. So you can see it's quite like a big SVG. We could probably simplify it a bit and run it through a optimization tool, and maybe I'll do that, but I'm not going to worry too much about it now. So we basically have this Animoji image which is on this footer, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make this into its own component. So Animoji, just so that I can sort of, if I ever want like a more advanced footer, I can just sort of like make it in the footer without touching any of this code and keep it all separate, which is fine. Because once we add the laptop in, I'm thinking about passing an array of sort of stickers which will have like the X and Y position and the URL of the image that I want to use, and the URL that I want it to go to, and maybe the text string that when you hover over it. So it might do some complicated things which should be sort of moved outside of the footer, because the footer doesn't need to be any of that, and maybe on another page I'll have it in a different place. So I'm gonna do that. So we'll definitely need some styles, and then we'll do an import React from React. I always do that the opposite way around. So const Animoji is a React.functional component, and we're not going to pass anything into it now, because it's just going to return this image and basically make sure that it's doing the same thing that we want it to do, which it clearly will, because it's a very simple component, and if it doesn't, then I don't know. We don't need to put anything in here yet because, you know, we're not using any styles. And then here we can just do an emoji. And that should basically just have the same thing here. And yeah, we can refresh to make sure that that's the case. But so now we need this laptop. And basically I'm thinking it's going to be a positioned absolute and just on the bottom and in the center. Position absolute because obviously it needs to go over the face. We could even like on load have it animate up over the face, like as if I'm sort of like bringing the laptop over my face, but we'll see. We'll see how we get on with that. So now what I want to do is I basically just want to wrap this stuff in a animoji. I will get better at spelling that. Container. Just basically putting it in this styled container because then we can set the position to relative, which keeps everything nice when we're working with absolute position stuff. We're going to import this from the styles that we have, but we just don't have anything in here yet, so we need to styled from styled components, and then we need to export const the animoji container styled, and we're just going to have it a div. And then for now I'm just going to do position relative, and that shouldn't really change anything here, I don't think. What did I do? Forgot the from. Cool. So I don't think that would change anything here, so we won't see any changes there. But now we can basically have a laptop. I guess we'll make it like a component, like a styled component, because it's really going to only be like an image. And I guess we could even just make it, we'll actually use a background image, I think, for that. Okay, yeah, you definitely go to sleep. Don't stay up for this, and check in the morning on my website and see how far we got on. That'd be cool. Sleep well, and I'll see you on my next stream probably. Thanks for joining. Right, this laptop is gonna be a styled component. Laptop equals style.div. And yeah, I could be sort of importing the SVG directly instead of using it as like an image, but coulda, shoulda, woulda. I'm not gonna, because I just don't need to worry about that stuff for this size of a project. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and get the size of this laptop roughly. I say roughly, it needs to be roughly, which is like 90 pixels by 300, and we'll call it 350. So height 90 pixels, width 350. And the reason why like I don't have to be 100% accurate here is not because I don't care how wide it is or that sort of thing, but the SVG will sort of remain its same width. I see here that it probably should be 151. So even if I did center it, it wouldn't be right, so I will change that, but shouldn't make too much of a difference there. And then we can, I guess for now, position absolute, and then we'll set it to the bottom, and then we'll do the old trick to basically center it, which is pushing it to the left 50%. So it's basically going to be like over here somewhere. I don't know how I can visualize this. It's basically going to be over here. Oh, and then you minus the 50% of its own width, which brings it back to like here, basically. And that's kind of like how you would center it. We're just going to give this a background color of red. I like using red for things because makes it clear. This doesn't need to be an open component, we're not putting anything in it yet. And we also need to import it here. So now we should have like a red box below our face, right? Should naturally be on top of it because it's the positioned absolute. So here's our like red box here. Now we just need to add in the background image. So we can just do background and make it a URL, and it's going to be images and then laptop.svg SVG, we'll center it in that box. We'll set it to the bottom, and we'll do no repeat because we don't want the image to repeat, and we'll get rid of this background color. And then we should have this laptop over our face. Cool. So that kind of works, right? Let's just check the quality is all good. Everything's good. Good. Nice. Right. So now I have that. I might play with the idea of sort of animating it in Onload, which we can do actually really easily, right? Because we can. It's more annoying now that we're doing this centering. So I'm wondering, because we set it to the right width, if we just set left 0 pixels of that width, it's not going to be in the center, which is lovely. Okay. It makes it a little bit more annoying, but it doesn't make it too bad, because we can do this transform, translate X, or translate X, Y, and make the Y set, for example, its height, 90%, 90 pixels even, not 90%, which means it's disappeared. And then we can set a keyframes, and then we basically say slide up or whatever, and then we say the 0% is going to be basically what it's at now, here, and then we'll say like 100%, it will be at 0, like this, and then we can just give it that animation, right? So we can say animation slide up, and we can let it run for 0.3 seconds and ease in out. And I think you can have a delay, so let's have a delay of like 2 seconds and just sort of see. So like 1, 2. Okay, so that's great. I think if we add forwards here, then basically it keeps this last 100% as the end result. So now let's refresh, and then we do like 1, 2, laptop slides up, and then I think it looks kind of cool. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it, maybe I won't. Let me know what you think in the chat if I should have this little slide up laptop, so it's a bit like, hey, I'm holding a laptop in front of my face. Obviously it'll be a bit smoother when I'm not streaming. But yeah, let me know if you like that. Easy to remove. But I guess now the next thing to do is, well, I guess we could sort of set these sort of like hover points and then change the text. Yep, keep the slide up from Bobby. Okay, cool. So I guess what we need to do is have an event listener on here. And maybe we can just do like on mouse move here, and do like on mouse move function, and do const on mouse move, and we're going to get an event which is a mouse event, and then we're going to have the page Y and page X. From the event, and for now we can just console.log these values, page X and Y, and then instead of doing this thing, we can do this thing, which is a bit nicer because we don't have to repeat what we're saying over again. Right, lost my mouse for a second. Don't know why that's shouting at me now. Do I have to do it like this, TypeScript? Is that what you're saying? Or, oh, is it because this is basically a styled component and we're not saying that this component has that as a property, so we have to do like on mouse move, which is a function which has a void, but it passes in the event of mouse event? Do we have to do that there, TypeScript? I keep losing my mouse as well, which is kind of annoying. But does that make you go away? Because now I've typed it. Maybe? Don't really know these things. Right, so, but I'd make it so it doesn't start below your face because you have no body. Oh, like no body, not like you have nobody, which is how I read that. I was like, that's cold, man. Yeah, you're right. So instead of starting it at like 90 pixels, like start at like 40 pixels, for example, and then have this 0% at 40 pixels, so it starts a bit lower down, starts like down here, and then I bring it up. I think, yeah, that kind of works. But why are you not allowing me to do this? Mouse event is not assigned. Oh, okay, so you have to basically say that it's a mouse event, but it's also from a HTML element, right? And that will get rid of that. But mouse event is not generic, right? This is lovely. This is lovely. I love all this TypeScript stuff. I feel like, you know, JavaScript is a lot easier than TypeScript because you don't have to deal with this sort of stuff, but also are you returning undefined p-tob? I don't know. Honestly, I do not know. So now if we console.log, we get this sort of thing, and I think this is basically the page. So let's just see this event here. I wonder if we can get like the actual sort of X and Y within the HTML. Can you do that, do you think? Give me the options that I have, please. Right. Maybe, but I don't think that's the issue. So basically you think that because I'm not returning something here, like if I return null, for example, then it will go away, but I don't think that's the case because it wasn't the issue that it wasn't typed on the styled component because the div already has this as an available thing. It's basically shouting at me because mouse event is not generic. And honestly, don't really know. What about if I do this? Yeah, no worries. I'm kind of like still getting used to all of this TypeScript stuff. We've recently picked it up and sort of converted most of the code base at Jour to TypeScript. It's been really fun, but fun and painful. Okay, so that seemed to, I just needed to import mouse event from React, it seems, so that I could use this to extend it and have the HTML div. So now we have this page X and Y. What I want to know is, do I have to basically get the position of this image and minus it from this page X and Y, or can I just sort of get the X and Y? Yeah, you're right. React.mouse event is basically what I needed to do. So thank you there. So like this mouse event, I want to see my options. I guess I'll just have to console.log. I just want to see basically if it has an X and Y, which is based off of this this element instead of the screen. So instead of like page X and page Y, which is this here, I want to see if we have like a, maybe is it client X and Y? We can try that. Let's just do client X for now and refresh. But no, I think that's just the client. So I think what we're going to have to do is we're basically going to have to get the position of where this image is and minus it from the page X and Y. Unless you guys can think of a better way, a nicer way to do that. I haven't really played with the mouse move event for some years now, so excuse me that I don't really know the syntax around that. But we can do it this way. So we'll do an emoji ref is a use ref, and this is going to be a HTML image element. So I guess set it to null, or set it to nothing for now, I don't know. And then we basically want this ref here, and an emoji ref. And okay, or it can be null, and we pass null here. So on mouse and move, we then want to say like, if we have this Animoji ref.current, then we basically want to minus the position from X and Y. So how do we get the position of that? So I guess we do Animoji ref.current dot yeah, it has client X and Y, but that also didn't seem to be anything. That was what these values are returning, and I was expecting sort of being over here would give me 0. Oh, unless maybe this Animoji container is taking up the whole width, which might make sense actually. Cool. Let's try this before we do some crazy stuff, because we might not even need to do that. So let's do client Y and console.log these. Let's just do X for now. So let's see if I'm over here. Okay, yeah, so it's clearly like this is the only bit that is because it doesn't track over here, and I'd expect over here to be 0 basically if it was of that client. So let's go back to what we had. Now, can't for the life of me remember how to do that. So let's just do HTML, HTML, JS, get position of element, get bounding client rect, dot, top left bottom. Cool. So we can have like const client X left as client X and right as client top as client Y equals this. That's how you do it, right? I'm pretty sure that's fine. So now if we do has type any, yeah, this is fine. So now if we do console.log the page X minus the client X, is that going to give us 0? Is that going to give us 0? Who knows? Who knows? So if we're here and we go over to here, minus 54 and 0 is like here, which is kind of weird, right? I kind of wasn't expecting that. Right, that makes sense though, because this div here is a absolute div, it's not really pushing this container out to be anything wider than it, even though this laptop goes wider. For example, if I had overflow hidden here, then the size of this laptop will be hidden away, because this is the size of that div, which is why over here is 0, and over here would be the thing. So basically, now I'm just going to find out the X and Y of this I, basically. So I'm going to console, I could have just kept that, console.log. Let's just do const X equals page X minus client X, and then const Y equals page Y minus client Y. And then let's just console log this X and Y. And then we can start just registering in basically some of these values that we want the mouse to change in. So if I have the mouse here, so maybe I'll start it in this area. So from like 124x and 140y, is that the way I did it? So let's say 120x to 140, 140y. And then 2, like, okay, so maybe it should be 120, 120 is fine. I think that's fine. And then the max X it will be is sort of 170. So let's say 170x, and then the max y it will be is 120, and the min will be 120 and max will be 155. So 120 and then 155. So basically we can then say, like, if this here is within these bounds, then we can run this exact dispatch function that we had at the start to change the text to whatever we want. And I might pass in this into the function or into this component so that we don't have to have this function. I might use a use callback function here so that we're not having to basically reload any of these values on re-renders of things, which will make it more optimized. But for now, I'm just going to be making this if condition in here, and then we can neaten it up afterwards. Makes sense to me. Right, so if the x is greater than the 120 value, and it's also x is less than 170, and the y is greater than the 120, I guess we should do greater than or equal to, right? Because it could also be on that value. Y is greater than or equal to 120, and y is less than or equal to 155. Then we want to run this dispatch function, so we can do use context, which gives us this dispatch equals use context, and then we'll say state context, and then if this is true, then we can say dispatch update text, and we'll say ouch, something like that, and then we'll say else dispatch update text, and maybe when we want to have sort of like in this cursor box, you can have a new file, or in the store. We'll have a new constant, I guess, up here, which we can export, const saying like default, or maybe starting text equals this hello, then this is equal to here, and then we can say this else condition can just import this starting text, just so that we have that in a constant place, and we can update it in one place and have that updated fine for us. I don't think that imported. There we go. Cool, so this should now, when I move over my eye, say ouch, and then when I move out, should say hello. What are you using to make the condense into one symbol? It's basically just if anyone knows what I'm trying to say, please help me out. Is ligatures have no idea how to say that word, but it's basically on the font. So and then I think the VS Code has a setting to enable it. Yeah, that's all. You don't have to do anything simple like crazy. It's just like this is the same as doing like that, but like the font just makes it more readable. So yeah, let's see if this works. So I'm moving around and I'm in my eye and I say ouch, and I move out, I say hello. Okay, so that works pretty well. That's like exactly what we want, right? So cool, we did it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, although we did struggle a little bit with some TypeScript stuff. But basically now we want to be able to pass in an array of these basically max and min x and y values, and then we can loop over the array, or find in the array where the x and y is in between these values, and update this text accordingly. So we can just pass in to this functions like an array of sort of mouse triggers, I guess. Let's see what other ones there are around here, just in case there. So there's only one more for my ear, and then basically these can just be on hover on the actual element. So I'm tempted to say like we don't really need, we could just have like an else if, which I know isn't great, isn't really scalable, but at the end of the day, this is my personal website. It's not like a mad production that I expect like me to extend loads and stuff. So I'm literally just gonna do that, I think. And if you guys want to see me show how you can sort of map over this and sort of find the x and the y where it's between the values that you pass in, and then maybe we also pass the value that you want the text to be and then run that. I can do that in another stream, but I don't want this to go on for too long. Yesterday went on for like 3 hours, and really wasn't expecting to go on that long. So yeah. Right. Yes, exactly. It's fire a code, I think is how you pronounce it. But you can do it with a lot of fonts. It doesn't have to be this font. And you can even do it with sort of fonts that might not have it. And you can open up the font and then import the languages. I honestly can't remember how you say that word. Into that font and then use it. I just find it easier to sort of read when it's like condensed like that. Alright, so I'm going to need to console.log these x and y again, just so I can find out, like I did with the I. This is going to error at me, isn't it? So let's just comment this out. Right, so console logging, this ear is basically from 146 to, I'm going to say like 165. So let's say else if the y is greater than or equal to 146 and the y is less than or equal to, what did I say, 68? Was it 68? 65, 66? Let's do 66. 166 and the x, and I know that I've swapped these around. I know. So 219 by 234, let's say. So it's greater than or equal to 219, and x is less than or equal to 200. Why do I keep forgetting these values? 235, 234. Let's do 235. Then we're basically going to run the same dispatch, but we'll say that's my ear. Lol. Cool. I mean, Bobby said like put this little yes in here. I guess we could do this. Then this doesn't need to be a capital. Just to match the design, because why not? So now we have this I that says ouch. We have this ear that says yes, that's my ear. But otherwise, it just goes back to hello, which is fine. Absolutely fine. We're done. We're done with that. And yeah, this is kind of looking quite messy, but like, honestly, it's like a 36 line component. The reason why we have to do all of this stuff, by the way, and get the client X and Y instead of the page X and Y and just do it that way, is because obviously this is going to change its position depending on where on the page it is, and we always want this to say ouch and this to say that's my ear. So we basically just have to find where this is relative to the page, and then we can just use these values in here. Simple, dimple. So I guess now is we need to put these logos in place. Cool, and then we can do things like, was it this one which showed the, yeah, so this like gradient blur, what I want to do is basically have this change depending on what logo you're hovering over, which I think would be quite cool. So we can do stuff like that. Maybe I'll do that off of stream, maybe I'm not. And by the way, let's use this as a break point. So I'm trying to think of something to do after sort of my personal site, because obviously I want to keep streaming. But the issue is with music and stuff, you can have a playlist and you can sort of say the people in your stream will suggest a song and you play that song. Happy days, you know the song. I can't exactly expect people in my stream all the time. There may not be any viewers, so I can't expect there to be streams of options for me to do in a stream. So I kind of want a project to kind of do that will involve you guys, because I think that would be quite cool. So I'm thinking something open source, something that you guys can contribute to, even make your own live streams about when you're doing sort of PRs on it and merging it into the main PR repo even. Maybe something like a collaborative project that we could all do together and all have like live streams going on that are doing like separate parts of the one project. I don't know. I want to include you guys. I don't know what to do. I want to do something open source. Kind of needs to be something I can do in the night or on my weekends or things like that. So nothing like massive. So if you guys have any ideas, what would be like quite a fun project? And I guess I could just do sort of like tutorials and stuff like I do on the channel on the main videos, because I know that a lot of people probably are subscribed for that reason. So me not doing it is kind of like a middle finger to them, but like I want to do it. It's just it takes a lot of time to produce videos, and live streaming is kind of like that middle ground that I can sort of deal with, because I don't have to do any editing, right? I can just throw this video straight up on YouTube. I don't even have to do that. YouTube does it for me. So it takes out like 4 hours of work, so much better to live stream. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas, let me know. And also, if you're watching this back in the future and the stream is already gone, give me a comment down below. I'll respond to it. Basically, whatever has the most likes or something we could do. I don't know. Try and think of some ideas. That would be great. Right, so now let's add these logos in. So, boom. And how I'm going to do this is, I think I'm just going to... it kind of annoys me that this is called Animoji, because it also includes the laptop. What about work with APIs? Go into more depth, like what do you mean specifically? Because yeah, that could be interesting. So maybe I'm going to just do it on this laptop component, and I'm maybe just going to set like a const up here. Let's just let's move this down, as this is a function, and let's say like const laptop stickers is going to be an array. Let's also type this out. Let's say type sticker is also going to contain, so what do we want it to contain? We want it to contain the image URL. So image URL is going to be a string. We want it to contain the position on the laptop, so the X and Y position. So maybe we have it a position, and we set it equal to an X, which is a number, and a Y, which is a number. Then we also want sort of like this text here. So click to visit my GitHub. So maybe we'll say cursor text, which will be a string. And then we also want the URL to what happens when you actually click it. So let's say URL, which will be a string. Cool. And then this laptop stickers can be a type, which is this sticker and an array of these stickers. And now we can basically start filling these in. So we'll say image URL, which is going to be equal to images. And I think it's an SVG. It might be a ×2 image. We don't know yet. Public images, GitHub SVG. So github.svg. And then the position, we want it to be, how do I select this thing? Okay. We want it to be 24 by 24. So position is going to be X24 and Y24. And then cursor text will be click to visit my GitHub. And then the URL will be to my GitHub. Like that. We'll just work with one for now, and then we'll pass in this stickers into here, and then we'll go into I kind of forgot that this was a styled component. I thought that it was a component by itself, which is kind of annoying because I thought I was going to handle that on the on the specific laptop component. But it doesn't matter. We can just do this. And then we can just do the stickers.map sticker, and then we basically just want to return a styled div. I guess it could be an image. So let's make these. Let's say export const sticker styled sticker is a styled dot image. Right. Okay, setting up OAuth's playing. By the way, different APIs like Google, Spotify's, and Twitter and Amazon. I think your headphones seem vice versa. Oh, got it, because mic. What? What's the issue with my headphones and mic? Is it okay? Am I repeating myself, like echoing or anything? It might be because I'm turning this way when I'm viewing the screen. Really, I should have this microphone stand thing on this side of me so that when I'm looking at the screen, but I just didn't set it up that way. As for the APIs, working with different APIs and OAuths, basically OAuth works with kind of like every OAuth will work similar. So you have like an OAuth 2, which is kind of the standard right now, and then you have like a redirect URL, and you go to their service, and then you'll log in, and you'll get an access code, and then you'll get redirected back to your site. You'll use that access code to gain an access token and a refresh token. Access tokens could last anywhere from like a day to like 5 minutes, and then basically when that expires, you can use your refresh token to get another access token, and that access token is going to allow you to get any information on that account, depending on the scope that you provide, which will give you different access to all of the different stuff on the user's account, depending on the service. But most APIs work the same in sort of OAuth. So that's how things like the OAuth site and app works, where you can just sort of like set up a auth provider, and then you can just link all of these different services to them, because most OAuths work the same, right? So they can just take all of this stuff and give you the access token, because you don't, as a developer, don't have to repeat yourself loads, which is nice. You think I wore the headphones wrong? You are correct. How did you notice that from my screen? Wow. Like, it doesn't say on the outside, so good eyes. But yeah, it doesn't really change much. This cable is only plugged into this microphone, and it doesn't change if I have it on this side or that side. But yeah, thanks. It honestly didn't really make much of a difference in terms of comfort, so, but cool. I'm now wearing it right. Have you worked with Contentful and Gatsby? I found an open source project, but I don't know how to replicate the content model of the project. So Gatsby is really cool. I haven't had much time to play around with it yet, and look into the plugins. But I know they're doing some really cool stuff over at Gatsby, and I want to spend some time trying it out, so maybe this is a good option. Contentful, yeah, I have used before. Used it as sort of like a really simple CMS, content management system, and just use it as sort of like supplying sort of... I used to work for Zebra, which is an app for teens making money off of doing surveys, and we basically used Contentful to pass in different surveys, and it was just like a nice way that we didn't have to worry too much about having all of that on our API and then having our own admin dashboard and having to worry about that. So it's quite a nice middleman there. So maybe it's a good shout. Right, let's continue with this sticker. We want it to be a position absolute. We also need to pass in the X and Y, so maybe we'll just call it X and Y, which is going to be number. So then we can set the top to basically this props.x pixels, and we can set the left and I know this should be Y. Having set this props to X pixels. Position, absolute. Right, that should kind of position it in the right place, is what I'm thinking. Is that right? There's only one way to find out. Let's do it. Styled sticker, and then we need to pass in the X, which is going to be sticker.position.x. And I guess we can do this. Sticker, just so that we have types on this. And then we say sticker.position.y. And then we can just do the source, which is equal to the sticker dot image URL. Right, cannot find names stickers. It's because we called it laptop stickers, and that's probably why this wasn't automatically typed, because really that should be automatically typed because we were already typing it as an array of this sticker. So yeah, that should be fine. Right, so now we have this sticker. Looks like this SVG is kind of messed up a little bit, which is annoying. These things happen. Let's have a look and see if I can fix this SVG without needing to use Bobby, but we'll see. We'll see. To be honest, I don't see anything that it could have been. We might just have to export this as an image and have like a ×2 image, because it looks like it's fine. It's like the correct shape and stuff, and it has the right fill and stroke, and there's nothing like multiple shapes going on. So I don't really know how to fix the SVG, Bobby. I don't know if you know how to. But for saying that, this Jour icon is also not an SVG right now, so it might just make sense to kind of have this as the as a PNG anyway, and have ×2 of it. So let's just do that. Let's export this into here, and we'll just save it there. Let's remove this github.svg again with these folders, man. Move this here, delete this folder. Let's see this GitHub SVG. Let's delete you so we don't have any dead code lying around. And let's go back into here, and then basically here will just be PNG, and maybe we should just have this as an array, which can be images GitHub at 2x for PNG, which this is erroring because it's expected to be a string. So if we make it a string of like an array of strings, then this error will go away. So that looks right to me. So now instead of the source, we need to basically use the first image as the source. And I think there's like a source set here. And I can't really remember how to do this, so I'm just going to have a quick little Google. Image source set. Da-da-da-doo. Give me an answer quickly, come on. Okay, I wanted a quicker answer than that. Let's just do it. This is what we want, right? We want to have this here, and we want to have u equal to u, and then source set. So it's basically we have this image 1 PNG, and that's 1 time, so that's going to be this. So basically here, and that's going to be 1 times, and then we're going to take this. And like you're right in saying that this might not exist, but I can basically just make sure, as I'm the person doing this stuff, that it's always got these 2 values, which is at 1 times, at 2 times. So that should fix the image, right? There we go. We now have the correct GitHub image, which is fine. Matt's got to go. Good stream, man. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate the support. Hope you get a good sleep. I'm also probably going to have to head off pretty soon because I don't want to stay up too late. But yeah, I think we'll have enough time to get this Jour logo in and maybe some of the hover stuff. So now what we need to do to add this Jour logo in is we basically just need to copy this. Do I have a ×2 Jour? Or just, alright, I'm not sure what size this thing is, but I think this is the ×2 one, so I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to re-export this Jour logo. I'm going to move it up because sometimes Figma like cuts off the edge if it's actually off the screen, which is kind of weird. And I'm going to make sure that we have this ×1 and ×2 like this, and then export you, and no doubt it's going to end up in this folder over here. Yep. And then we move this out and then we delete here. Okie dokie. Right. Yeah, that is right. Correct. Okay, so now we just need to replace this with Jour, and then we need to get the new X and Y. So we move this back to the position it was in. Highlight over it. So it's, all right, we'll do it from the left. 235 by 37. 235 by 37. It creates a folder because of the / in the artboard name. It thinks you want to create a new folder path. Yeah, but I don't. Is there any way I can stop it doing that? That would be great. So click here to visit, click here to start journaling. And again, this is probably going to be linking to the app URL from the App Store, but I don't have that in front of me, so I'm just going to do the website. There you go, and that should give us this Jour logo here, right? Cool. Right, now we need to do the hover stuff. So we can do on mouse over, and we say on sticker hover, and we say on mouse out, on sticker out. Let's just call this over for the sake of that. And then we'll basically make a couple more functions here. Const on sticker over. We do get the event here, but we're not even going to use it because we don't need to. This is going to dispatch, and basically what we could do is we could turn these into functions here, and then we can pass in the sticker here. We can even say sticker.url, just because I doubt that we're going to need anything other than the, it wasn't URL, it was cursor text. Other than this cursor text on this hover and hover out stuff. In fact, we don't even need it on the hover out, right? We could just take this out because it's just going to go back to the default on hover out. So on this hover, we get this cursor text, which is going to be a string. And then we basically update the text to be this cursor text. And then we say const on sticker out. It doesn't get anything because we don't need it to. We'll just dispatch an event which will update the text to be the starting text. Cool. Really simple. That should give us these hovers, right? He says, I hope so. But it doesn't seem to be. Am I missing something here? So on mouse over, we're going to run a function which is on sticker over, which gets the sticker.cursor text, which passes it in here and then dispatches the update text to that string. I guess let's just console.log hello. Just to see if we're actually getting anything when we hover over this image. Maybe there's something over the top of it. So yeah, we're getting the hello, and we're getting the hello over here. And if we update the cursor text here, then we're getting that. So this dispatch seems to not be working, even though we have this dispatch use context, and it works for this stuff, which is the same, right? It's the same as doing this and this. So really, this should be working. Ba-da-ba-boo. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe this on mouse out. I'm trying to think. There's not only on mouse over, but there's on mouse enter, right? And on mouse leave. And I don't know if this is better because it only triggers once when it goes over instead of loads of times. But it doesn't even look like that's working. Does anyone know why that's not working? That would be really cool. But yeah, I can't really see right now why it would be doing that. I don't know, but we can come back to it. We can definitely come back to it. Right now, let's just make it so that it clicks. I guess the nicest way to do that is just to have this in a href, and the href is equal to the sticker.url, and then we can even have the alt tag to be the sticker.cursor text. Right? Are you gonna allow me to do that? Type children, href string, alt string is not assignable to type. Detail HTML props, anchor alt does not exist on type. Right. The alt is normally on an image, right? It's not on the href, but you normally have like a title. Is that correct? It's honestly been so long since I had done anything on web that I'm struggling to remember these things. But now this should make the cursor change to this little mouse here. We could even have a custom cursor for when it's on this click. And then this should take me to my GitHub, which it does. And then this should take you to Jour, which it does. And then we could even have it so when you hover over it, they move slightly up or something. But I honestly don't think that's going to need to happen because we're going to have this glow happening back here. But before I head off, because that's kind of all I really wanted to do is kind of get this done so that I can kind of do the rest in my own time, right? I'm just going to basically make this a little bit nicer on mobile, which is this title component here. And I'm pretty sure I could just do this with the styles. So if I just do like a media screen, and max width is like, let's see, I guess when it drops, when it doesn't have enough space to fill here, I'm gonna say when it's like at, which seems quite big, right? But most people have like a decent sized screen now. I'm gonna say 1080. Would center the text and decrease the font size on mobile. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna do. So, so when we hit that, we're basically gonna change the font size, and I'm gonna change it to something really small just to kind of see the drastic change. Well, 30 pixels isn't really small, but see how it changed there to be like smaller, should I say? And then if we pull it out again, it'll go back up. I feel like that's too small. I might change it to like 40 pixels. And I wonder how the typist stuff is going to deal with the text align center. I wonder if that's just going to be fine. Looks it. So this looks fine for me. I could just do padding left and right. Pagging. Just because this way, if it does get like right to the edge, then it at least has some sort of padding, so it's not touching the edge of the screen. And I could even make it the same as this header up here, so that it's always aligned with that at least, if not in the center. So yeah, I think this kind of works fine. I really like it. I really like this site. I think it's coming together really well. It's cool, right? Everyone like my site? Let's push these changes. So cool. I'm glad you like my site. Maybe I could do sort of like a submissions thing on my YouTube. So like, let's switch to talk. So basically, maybe you guys can submit a HTML and CSS and JavaScript website. Maybe it's for a project that you're doing. Maybe it's for something you're doing. And then whoever gets the most upvotes by code in the live stream could do something like that. I don't know. But I don't want people using me to do their client work for them because I definitely don't get paid enough from the stream for that. Yep, you guys are just talking amongst yourself, so it's different and that's great. Yeah, honestly, like I kind of approached Bobby because I was like, I don't need clients anymore. I'm like in that position now where I'm full-time with Jour and super happy, and this is kind of what I see my future being for at least the foreseeable future anyway. So there's no point in me having a personal site that has all of these clients and my existing portfolio and stuff. So I just wanted something a bit different, something a bit fun, something with these little quirky sort of hover things on them, and just sort of telling people about my position at Jour and about my YouTube channel, I guess, which there's a link to. Watch me code the site live. So I'm guessing people will click that and then hopefully subscribe. If you're watching this, subscribe. I think like it's something crazy, like 90% of my viewers are not subscribed because they see that my channel hasn't uploaded for some time, so probably don't subscribe. Absolutely fair enough. Thanks, man. Really good stream. Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm gonna head off. Maybe not quite soon. Not quite yet. Don't really know what to do now. I want to come up with the idea of what I'm gonna do for my next streams, because otherwise I know I'm just gonna sort of leave it too long, you know. But maybe I'll have a think about that off stream. Maybe you guys can comment down below. That'd be awesome, because it'd certainly be a lot easier than me thinking of an idea. But yeah, I think I'll look into why those hover events aren't working on the yeah, my site is still caching the older version. I know it's kind of annoying, but you know, it doesn't have to be. If you go to jsmith.co and then if you hit command and then shift and then R for refresh, or if you're on Chrome anyway, then it will cache refresh and load in the new stuff. So you should get the new stuff there. But yeah, I think I'm gonna head off. Thank you guys for the stream today, and thank you guys for watching. It was super fun. I really enjoyed these streams, so kind of want to get back into it. I say back into it. I never really streamed very much. I kind of want to get back into kind of adding content to this YouTube channel because it's been really fun. I don't know why my site is caching the old version, but I will kind of force the cache to refresh itself so that shouldn't happen for you guys anymore once I get off the stream. More live streams, yeah, I know. I definitely want to do more. Just need to sort of find out what the next thing is going to be, whether it's going to be a project involving all of you guys, which I think would be honestly super dope, because, for example, if it's like a library or if it's a project or something that's just small, we can make it open source. Each and every one of you guys and developers that are watching this can contribute to the source code, even have your own live streams, sort of doing your own parts of the source code and making your own PRs, to which I'd happily watch and stuff. And then we can merge them in and sort of make something really cool together. Something involving you guys is really cool. I really like that idea. It's also a lot less work for me, right? Because there'll be more people doing it. But something like that, maybe just some lessons, maybe just some tutorials, maybe a poll for someone's maybe like top 3 designs that are sent to me on YouTube, and I pick one and then do it. I don't know. But for now, I'm gonna go. Thank you guys for joining. Don't forget to like the video, comment, and subscribe, and just kind of, share around maybe that I'm live streaming more often. Also, feel free to not do any of this. I don't really mind, but your help is appreciated. Thank you very much, and hope you guys and girls have a good night, sleep well, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.